I didn't read the script.
Oh.
I skimmed it, but that's okay.
I didn't read it either. It's okay. Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about
Math analysis.
Yes. So what are the prerequisites?
It's just pre-cal.
Yep. And you can also take it online.
Oh yeah, I e-schooled pre-cal, and in my opinion, it wasn't that much of a hindrance towards learning in math analysis.
Alright, so what is math analysis? Well, it is a course that revolves around calculus-based concepts.
So those are things like derivatives, integration, optimization, related rates, finding the volume of revolved solids, and there's a little bit of statistics and probability.
Yep, and if none of this makes sense to you, it's totally okay.
Yeah.
We just kind of want to give you an idea of what the class is going to cover and the concepts that you'll learn.
Right, and we don't want to scare you or anything. We just want to excite you with all the possibilities that you'll be learning.
It's honestly a pretty interesting class, I would say.
Yes.
And some of the concepts and equations and applications that you learn are fun.
Yes.
Yes.
And I say that genuinely.
Yes. And then also you need to make sure that you have a calculator for this class, and you'll be able to use it most of the time. I feel like most of I don't think there was a single test where we didn't have a calculator. Yeah. So it's unlike pre-cal, I know there are some units where it's strictly no calculator. For calculus, or math analysis / calculus, it's about every single thing you can use the calculator for. Almost.
Yeah. Oh, but just because you have the calculator, don't think that makes it easier.
You can't rely on the calculator.
Yeah.
It's just for some functions you need it, and then it's it's not gonna punch out the answers for you, but it's something that's definitely gonna assist you when you're solving your math problems.
And you'll also get a formula booklet during the tests in the IB exam, which is great, and is not true for the AP BC Calc exam. So.
Unfortunately.
Yep. And here's the syllabus outline, which I'll put somewhere here for your viewing pleasure.
In our faces.
Yeah. Okay. And as for the exam, it is split into 4 parts.
Yeah, and so then internal assessment for math is most of your other IAs. The math analysis IA can be over any concept or topic as long as it relates or is relevant to the curriculum in some way. There are so many things that you can do with this IA. We honestly don't know too much about it, but
we're just starting out. We only just came up with our potential ideas in our junior year. What was yours?
At the end.
Cancer?
Yeah, something about the shape of cancer cells? Or the growth? Oh, the I don't remember. It's been too long.
Mine was something about optimizing the surface area of different kites.
Yeah. And then just for our math teacher, he told us that one of the most important things is to make sure that you have actual math in your IA and not just paragraphs and paragraphs of words and explanations, because it is a math IA after all.
And then for your exam, there's 2 papers. Paper 1 and paper 2 both have short response questions and extended response questions. But paper 1, you don't get a calculator, and paper 2, you do. And then paper 3 is composed of only 2 extended response problem-solving questions, and you can use your calculator.
Yeah, and then so in terms of the workload, and this is PESH specific.
We basically never had assigned homework. Well, this is specifically for Mr. Buer. There were some optional practices, which I would recommend considering doing, just because there's basically no homework to begin with. Yeah.
And so it's however heavy you want it to be. If you're that overachieving student, then you'll likely have more work because you'll be motivated to complete the extra practice for extra practice.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, if you're just a typical student who wants to survive the class, your workload will be minimal just because nothing is assigned to you, and it's completely up to you whether or not you want to do the extra assignments.
We also want to mention that you can totally get by without doing the extra practices. Mr. Buer is a great teacher who really actually loves math. So as long as you pay attention during his class.
And also there's usually a lot of in-class practice that helps you to prepare yourself. But it is important that if you don't understand the concepts that you go back and do the practices, and that's completely on your own time. So if you have time, you're just doing nothing and you're hey, I should pull out the math problems and get some practice in because the test is tomorrow,
Is that what went through your mind whenever you're doing those practices?
Maybe.
Okay, should you take the AP exam? And we're referring to the AP BC Calc exam. Obviously, at the end of the day, the decision is up to you and like what universities you're thinking of applying to. And if you decide to take the exam, like just in case, like we did, we would heavily advise you to like make sure you're well prepared for the exam.
Yeah, and so although analysis covers like a lot of what is on the AP exam, your teacher likely won't give you tests or homework in the AP format.
Right.
So it's going to be very unfamiliar to you if you just step in without like doing any additional self-studying on your own. So a lot of at-home practice with past AP FRQs will help you familiarize yourself with the format of the exam so that you're not completely lost on the day of the exam and have no idea what to do. Practice is actually really crucial for the AP exam, and I would start as soon as possible because you don't want to be cramming everything into the last minute.
Right. And I definitely did not do that. Another thing you can do is go on YouTube and look at like YouTubers go through past FRQs.
Yeah, and that's actually
that really
helpful.
Yeah.
Because they like walk you through step by step.
And they show you how to do things like in a quick manner.
Yeah. And then also like for the AP FRQs, it's like weird because you have to show all of your work.
Yeah.
And that might be something that you're unfamiliar with. And there are certain things that you need to have in your answer.
Right.
And if you don't have that, they're taking points off. So it's really important that you familiarize yourself with their grading scale and how they score the FRQs. That way you can maximize the amount of points you're getting as well.
Right. And more specifically, I would advise you to study the polar and parametrics unit because those are covered in the AP exam, but we don't really talk about that in the IB class.
Yeah. And despite our fears, we scored pretty highly after a lot of self-studying, I would say.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Yeah. So it's possible. Just make sure that you do additional practice outside of class because just learning what you learn in class and going into the AP exam for BC Calc is not going to cut it.
Okay, and then we also wanted to do a brief comparison with math applications. You need to decide between those two math courses in IB. So here's a graph taken from the official IB website, which is linked below.
And as you can see, analysis emphasizes calculus the most and doesn't emphasize stats or probability as much as applications does. And so it's important that you consider your future career in terms of like what you want to do and what that career path requires in terms of math knowledge. Like I know that as an engineer, it's really important to have some calculus experience, right?
Well, then why is Natalie taking math notes? You don't know anything.
Just like some certain like majors or careers might need more calculus than others, whereas apps is more important for certain careers that we don't.
And
really...
if you don't know anything, like we don't know anything, it's good to ask your teacher for help. Like at the end of my sophomore year, I was talking with my math teacher, and I told him I wanted to go into comp sci. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I was considering comp sci, and he told me to do math analysis. And now I am definitely not doing comp sci, but I'm still happy that I took math analysis because I think getting the calc credit is good for going into pre-med. If you don't know what you're planning on doing in the future, just default on your personal math preferences. For example, I knew I didn't like stats, so I didn't want to do apps because of that. So that was another reason.
Yep. And so on to our personal opinion.
A disclaimer, these are our personal opinions, and we are only 2 IB students out of many, so take these with several grains of salt. And with that being said, I enjoyed this class very much. And if you're considering HLing, make sure you don't hate math and that you have some like level of competency in math. I think our IB coordinator said that you shouldn't HL math if you don't like live and breathe math, but I don't think that's true because I wouldn't say I'm crazy in love with math, but I was still able to succeed and enjoy coming to the class every day.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with what Kyra said. You don't have to live and breathe math in order to take math analysis, but you can't like absolutely despise and hate doing math because otherwise you're just gonna like be very miserable in the class. So as long as like math is like an okay subject for you and you have some sort of interest in it, then I think you should be fine in terms of the class.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the pace was really fast for the class, and I felt like we were constantly actively applying what we just learned the previous day into like an ICA, which is an in-class assessment, which usually we do in like big groups of 4. And it's like a sheet of practice problems, and we do all of them and then we turn them in. So I feel like you kind of get used to the rhythm of the class and the learning new concepts constantly. And I think that by the day of the test, you're able to like take all of that knowledge that you learned and apply it to the test and succeed, as long as you're doing the practice problems and being really serious about all of the in-class assessments that you do. And it's honestly a relatively chill class. So if you can, I think that even if you don't love math, again, you can still handle the class and be relatively successful in it.
Yeah, and adding on to what you said about the fast pace, like on the first 1 or 2 days of the unit, you're gonna be panicking. I mean, that was what it was like for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I would be able to like get a good grade on the test. But you just need to like put some faith in yourself that you'll be eventually able to get the hang of it, because I know that anyone could do it, and especially with Mr. Beer, who is such a good teacher.
Yeah. And your math teacher might do things a little differently, but it's still like you're still learning the same concepts and you're still applying the same things, so it should be pretty fun.
Pretty achievable.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for watching.
Make sure to comment any questions.
Yes, and tune in for the next video. If your thumb is feeling really active right now.
If you regularly do thumb push-ups every day and you stretch it regularly,
you should smash that
like button and notification bell and hit that subscribe.
Yes.